Thank you so much for joining us. This is All Angles. I'm Dion Jackson Miller. Now, on Monday, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang spoke with my colleagues on Nationwide. He took issue, among other things, with various groups he said criticized the police, and he said he had issues with that. In that interview, he said, among other things, that groups like human rights group Jamaicans for Justice were living off what he called blood money. Now, as you can imagine, that set off quite a firestorm, lots of controversy. Later that afternoon, Dr. Chang spoke to me on Beyond the Headlines on our sister station, Radio Jamaica. We're going to be hearing that interview in just a little bit, but just to let you know, we're talking about associated issues in this program. So I do have with me in studio from Indicom, the Commissioner, Hugh Faulkner, also Deputy Commissioner Yannick Taylor-Wellington. We're going to hear from them in terms of some of the work being done at Indicom. Later in the program, we'll have comment from civil society groups and commentators. First, though, let's go to my interview with Dr. Horace Chang. Dr. Chang, you think it's possible to support lawful and professional policing while at the same time expressing strong concern about troublesome incidents and trends in the police force?
Yes, you can, no doubt. And this morning I was maybe more stranded than normal because I was annoyed. And I'll tell you why so you can understand better my position. And I will go through. I have no problem in Indicom. I was part of the parliament when we passed the law. And they have a right to investigate. Sometimes how the public interprets their comments for probing and investigating is not their fault. So sometimes they get quoted in a way that may suggest that I don't have a problem with uniform. If they have an issue, the police communicating with them, they communicate to the police and they have no problem in communicating. And they are good investigators. So they should do their work. And in the common set of independence to give direction on police activity when it is involved the public.
And that's a direct result of the advocacy of groups like Jamaicans, primarily Jamaicans for Justice. We
establish Indicom, and therefore Indicom become the investigative body and the authority on these issues. Therefore, you must await the outcome and the court system, because you cannot just broadside everything. And Indicom, as I said, they don't broadside the police, but the way things are said by many groups, it suggests that the police is out there shooting down people. No.
That's a mischaracterization, though, Dr. Chang. Come on.
No, that's the impression.
Jamaica, no, it's not. Hold on, let me tell you. Let me just respond to that since you said that. Because over the past few months, Jamaicans for Justice, to use that example, since they're in the middle of the conversation, they've said repeatedly that they welcome the reduction in crime, that is a good thing. But that doesn't mean that they don't still raise concerns about what they see as a troubling trend.
The way they raise the concerns, I said, and I will use the example I'm here where I'm annoyed. It's a bit. Let's start from December, and it won't take more than 2 minutes. We knew in December the police force, and the minister was there, identified 6 or 7 gangs were out to kill a number of people as they tend to do. And that's why murders in January are traditionally high, because the position of the gangsters, they must die before the new year, or if they're still alive, then they kill them in January. We had the AO1 intelligence, which you can interpret anyhow. Dozens of policemen were taken and used their holidays in Christmas. They found and they were out there patrolling and seeking to disrupt any activity. Which means they were going to hotspots, they would ask for people, etc. In the end, they intercepted at least 4 of those groups, and there were 3 fatal shootings. Out of that came a whole of activity that the police must wear cameras because that's what they're doing. They're killing innocent people. The impression was given. Now, that impression is not only wrong, and I condemn it in any language I wish, and will never withdraw that position. I will discuss it because I think the broadside against the police in January was horrible. But my concern, why I got angry, is that we have recruited and expanded the force to a point where they can deal with the criminal gang. We recruited over 8,000 police officers since 2018. They are 14,000 strong. A lot of these officers who are trained, and the commissioner and the leadership has trained them. The training has changed. The equipment has changed. But when you begin to broadside them, and they're recruited from Clarendon, Spanish Town, and you begin to suggest that they might be out there, as used to be said, that they're out there murdering people.
No, but this is your
hurts their
interpretation.
family.
Nobody has said this.
That
No,
is
Dr.
what goes
Chang.
out.
No, Dr. Chang.
No,
The concerns
it
that have been
hurts.
raised, for instance, about body-worn cameras, for instance, did pick up a lot of steam following, for instance, the Jamar Farquharson killing,
Yeah,
which was
that's
caught
an
on
instant. We have
CCTV.
1,000.
And
We have
no, but
that's
my
3,000
point
shootings.
is, no, but that's why I started the way I started, you can accept that professional lawful policing is critical,
Yes.
is important,
Yes.
that we all support that. But it's as if the police and the ministry take umbrage if concerns are highlighted and incidents are pinpointed.
It must be highlighted in a sensitive manner. And it's not being done that way. We are buying the cameras. One person wrote and suggested the commissioner was lying. We go to the procurement process like all of the equipment. It took me 5 years to start the police station in Savamar.
No, man,
you're
all over the place, Dr. Chang. Let's go to the cameras because, for instance,
Right.
you started off by indicating your support for Indicom, correct?
Yes.
Right. And Indicom, so let's forget
I passed
everybody
the law.
else. Indicom, okay, but Indicom has been in the forefront of calling for body-worn cameras and pointing out that this is normal in other jurisdictions and that one of the things it does is to protect the police as well as the public. Why this umbrage? Because people kept saying, where are the cameras?
No, just a correction. It was Commissioner Anderson and myself would start saying, we will use cameras to protect the police. Look, a lot of suggestions were being made that police were doing things wrong.
But the police sometimes do things wrong, Dr. Chang. That has to be accepted.
Police will investigate them. Yeah, but you don't broadside the whole police force when we're taking murders from 62 per 100,000.
But again, this is your characterization because you don't seem to accept that people have a right to criticize if there are concerns about the numbers. Look at the numbers.
No, they have a right to do so, Diane, but it must be done with sensitivity. Anyway.
I don't know what you mean by that. What do you mean by that?
When you suggest, and no, they will say they didn't do it, But the way they say things and suggest that the policemen are out there shooting arbitrarily, which amounts to murder.
But you see, one of the difficulties is that you are making assertions without quoting specific comments. Because I read what the police commissioner says, I read what Jamaicans for Justice say, and I have not seen the kind of broadside and language you're talking about. They always say.
What came against the police in there was a lot of noise that they could not. They needed to have cameras to monitor it. Now, nobody stops the investigation of Indicom. The police don't have cameras as camera scenes. They go there, investigate, and convict. I'm saying you allow Indicom to do the investigation. If the police does something wrong, they'll be prosecuted like anybody else. The issue of police investigating police criminal activity, that's a different thing. Indicom have not superseded the police in investigating anybody in Jamaica, so the police will investigate their own cases as well. But the issue is when it becomes so noisy, I think suggestion by that what is happening out there is not quite correct. People believe that the police is doing out there to intercept gangs and kill them unnecessarily. It affects the police in the community. There are police officers who are from the community. They have families in the community. They work in the community. Same community where all the other things are happening. And I maintain it will affect them emotionally, and it is wrong. Because there's no need to do it because Indicom was established to do the investigation and come up with a case, and they don't need cameras to make the cases. The police don't have cameras and scenes. We find a dead body on the street, and it takes 3 months, 4 months, you find out who did the murder, and you charge them.
All right. It sounds to me as if you're suggesting that there should be no comment on any incident until a matter has gone through the court 10 years' time, and we see whatever is the outcome.
Comments must be responsible.
But I have not heard you make any specific reference or any specific quote that would suggest irresponsibility.
I will look for them if you want and come back. But I know in January, after the 12 shootings, police shooting, there was a lot of noise. One writer suggests that the police were lying about cameras. You don't do that kind of public against any senior commissioner of the police like that. Then you had other things. It was just coming through. Something was wrong, what they were doing. There was a whole heap of noise about it.
Here's one story with some direct quotes. The Jamaica Observer reported January 3, the headline was JFJ alarmed at fatal shootings on first day of 2026. And it quotes the executive director saying, the situation was untenable. The very next paragraph was, at the same time, she welcomed the performance of the police in 2025 in reducing murders through its various initiatives and operations. Jackson said it's important to highlight the success of the police, but at the same time, the reality on the flip side, where citizens are being fatally shot by the security forces, is too alarming to ignore. She said the alarming trend follows a troubling close to 2025, which saw 311 police fatal shootings, the highest number since 2010, a 65% increase in police-related shootings compared to the 189 in 2024, underscoring a pattern that demands immediate scrutiny. What in that sounds intemperate or irresponsible?
You keep saying the situation is untenable, which means the police, technically the police shooting criminals is untenable, but they should reduce murders. Makes sense. But, one other thing, I have to go by statistics. And I don't have the form, the papers to quote from, and I just know that the noise against the police in general, I was very upset about it, and I continue to be, and I maintain my position. But there's statistically, I think it's called Pearson coefficient when you analyze two events that relate to each other. And the coefficient for police shootings against murder, reduction murder, was like 0.99, which means it's a negative thing, but it shows that what statistics have that source to suggest, and let me use the word suggest, is that by increasing police shootings, you're reducing murders. That's what it suggests. That's statistical analysis. It doesn't have to do with police or philosophy or law. And you can have your mathematician a statistician analyze it. The question is 0.99. You come to February, and of course the police cool on a little bit, and it's going the other way, right? And some people take praise for that.
Have you seen a couple of things? Have you seen the community protests that have taken place in situations where they said the police have unlawfully killed members of the community who had done nothing, who had done no wrong?
We just come in and kill everybody, sir, and then only say shootout. Come on, man.
You've seen some of those protests?
In Edmonton, but they are much less these days than they were before. They used to happen almost every shooting.
I'm not sure what the point is, though, because I'm
just saying that will happen sometime, and we'll have to investigate and come to a proper conclusion.
But
I'm concerned. I see it.
Do you understand?
Concerned, but I'm saying that there was a time when I used to get it it used to happen after every shooting. Now it happens occasionally, and in one case, I think down in Manchester, the community came out afterwards to support the police.
You sound as if you think it's what they call it in times of war, when innocent people get killed accidentally. You sound as if it's something that we kind of have to accept.
Collateral damage.
There you go. Damage. Thank you so much. You sound as if you think it's collateral damage we have to accept.
But you see, when you speak to the issue, you speak to it professionally. Let me set up on your program. And no problem. I think some of the way some are expressed, as well as how some are interpreted, creates an atmosphere that is not in the best interest of the country. And that's what I'm maintaining. And I think the JFJ gets involved in what I used to call on campus in my days of more activism, double speak.
All right, stay tuned. When we come back after the break, we hear from Indicom.